ntate Ngwenya o ntshwarele ne ke sa bone ntate le bohle be leng hore ha ke a ba elellwa empa he le mogupu wa bona jwalo le basue hloho, all the principals, you are acknowledged, and all the other curriculum support staff that are here and all the other admin staff. Teacher ka Sotho ke tla kopa o ntshwarele ne ke re ke tla bua ka puo ena ya lapeng empa go a bonahala hore ha se kaofela re utlwisisang puo ena ya letswele ya ka ke na le teacher ka ya Sotho ka mona. At a time when our country is facing a number of challenges, part of them is commonly known as a triple challenges that do know inequality, unemployment, and poverty. And the question is, where are we? Where do we locate our education in the entire, or in these difficult questions? I'm raising it because, as we are seated here, Motheo is an economic hub of the Free State, which I believe is not supposed to be so. My apology to all my economics teachers will like, I'm very much convinced they will agree with me, because I know economic activities. It's unfortunate, Majoro Ntatisi, that Mangaung is left with the responsibility of carrying the economy of the province. It's unfortunate, because the strength and our endowments as the province are not in Mangaung. What does that mean? That means that it poses a challenge that as a province, we are more challenged. We need to do more to ensure that we optimize on our endowments and our abilities, which are located elsewhere. And we know what are those, which is agriculture and all of those mineral resources which we have. It can be correct that a rich province like the Free State, it's still one of those which are the highest in unemployment. We got to do something. And the unfortunate part, or the fortunate part of being a young person, is that we don't believe in maintaining the status quo. And one thing that characterized our relationship with my predecessor when I was in the economy, we used to differ on many things every day. The only issue we used to agree on is the relationship between education and economy. And we used to agree that if we don't find a proper coordination and a complementary relation, that you have played a very important role, not only to pass. The whole of education system, both basic and higher education, is not to pass the learners only. But passing is one of those functions of the bigger picture or of the entire work that we are doing. It's just a measure of how far we have went in that. So our ultimate goal as education system is to ensure that we support the economy, is to support the development program of government. Now, I've always been confronted by this question as to how confident are you in our system? In one of the radio interviews during the week, they were saying, your bachelors, let's speak about your bachelors. Are you happy because if you have not reached 90% whatsoever of the bachelors, it speaks on quality? I said, no. Quality is a very relative term. It's relative in the context of what your overall function is all about. And our overall function, yes, it's good we are targeting the pass, we are targeting the bachelor's distinctions, is good, yes, we have to. At the end of the day, what will measure our quality is our ability to prepare our products to be ready for the next markets which they go to. And that next market in our context will be higher education. But secondly, is the industries, the economic industries or various economic sectors which they will participate in. Now, because I like controversy and I like to raise issues which are very uncomfortable, when we are seated with all the colleagues, when I arrived at the department and I'm still saying it, some know, I normally ask them a question: who are we producing for? Because I think that's what will measure our quality. And I know it makes other people to start appreciating as to what will happen to them reflects on what we have given them, reflects on how ready we have prepared them, myself included. I'm just speaking of us as a sector. Now, if we have higher education that can take only 30% and 70%, by the way, I come from the economic development space. I was closer to the industry till now. The industry will tell you, point blank, they don't massage your feelings. At some point, I ran to the Chamber of Commerce and said, no, it can't be that the kids, if they can't go to varsity, they must roam on the street. Employ these kids. One of this is that. Because higher education, we can argue, that's a business of higher education. However, in the industry, all those employers must see to their abilities and their training. And over prepare, they must be ready. Now, what about those that can't go to education, those that can't go to the industry? Whose business is this? They come from us. You see? So those are some of the difficult questions which we believe that we got to focus more on them so that we make sense out of our education system. We must not produce the kids, informally we call it the unemployed basket. Our system must not produce for the unemployed basket or company. We must be confident that when our kids leave, they are ready to do something with their lives. So, but I'm not there. I'm just saying, when we are here celebrating this excellence, we got to ensure that the relationship between the developmental program of government and education continues to be complementary. And I'm quite happy that we are doing well in terms of preparing. We just have to continue doing more. The Free State Province, in terms of its vision, we normally take this opportunity when we find platforms like this as provincial government to rally everyone behind our vision. Part of our vision is that we have to go back to where the Free State is a breadbasket of the country. And I always argue that that is not possible unless we invest a lot in education, meaning we got to increase, as we have started to do. Currently, our budget, I think, allows us, in terms of the pass rate of matric and so on. Now, what we got to do, we got to ensure that our education prepares our learners so that they are ready for higher education for the relevant courses. But most importantly, we can't speak of creating employment when we are not creating employers. So part of where we need to intensify is the uptake or the intake of the learners into the economic management stream, but importantly on those that are relevant, particularly on accounting. Because part of the statistics before us, they show us that as government, we said, we will develop our economy through promotion of small businesses. But every 2 businesses out of the 3 that we established, they collapse. And the reason is inability to manage the businesses amongst our people. Good intention, but we're unable to make sense out of it because we don't have ability. But it can't be the case forever because we've got a well-working education system. We've got men and women that are working hard to produce the youngsters. So we've got to be deliberate. Because when you want to make a change, you've got to be deliberate and say, in the province of the Free State, in the next 20 years, this should be the number of entrepreneurs we would have produced. And that goes to our basic education, the foundation. And I was quite happy when the function of ECDs came to education, because something that people don't know, if you miss certain things in the ECD, it not only affects you till matric, but if you look at some of the students, even at the postgraduate level, how they are able to succeed either in master's or in PhD, it's got to do with how they've developed at a younger age. You find that a PhD scholar is struggling because he was not well prepared in terms of the grasp of the language, putting together sentences and so on. So as a province, we've got to be deliberate and say, our focus on the ECD, yes, it's still in the infancy stage, but it's got to be supported. Not only for the kids to pass, because it will affect all these other abilities, all these other plans as we really are moving forward. So the province of the Free State and Dr. Freddy, we must produce entrepreneurs. We must be worried how many Freddy Kenyans we are going to produce on annual basis. For you to have employment, there must be someone who employ. And it don't happen naturally. We pray tomorrow there are 10 employers rated or that are produced by the system day in, day out. But this is a learners are fitting to this vision. There's a vision in the province of the Free State. We've got to change it. We're sitting on serious endowments that just need us to optimize as opposed to the current contradictory situation. There is an anomaly in the province of the Free State where you have a good performing education system and the high unemployment rate. It's normally not the case. So as we are celebrating today, I really want to say all the regions will continue to be supported. Motheo, because they are at home, they are always the luckiest one, but it also has its own downside, because when there are problems, I'm closer to them. If I have to come with a whip, it always reaches Mr. Moloi first, because it's closer. But rest assured, we'll continue to support you, Motheo, on the good work that you have done. Because it's very rare in a metropole area where you have the excellent performance, because that's where the myriad of all the problems are at. So as we are celebrating today, I really like to thank the teachers who really worked hard. You sacrificed a lot. That did not go unnoticed. To the parents who always sacrifice a lot for their kids, and the learners themselves for the hard work, but also the general community, the teacher unions. We fight a lot with them. It's necessary, because out of those fights, we are then able to rise as better people. And I think we must continue to have those necessary contradictions that are there. And the general members of society, the sponsors. The province of the Free State, if you look at the amount of work that we are doing, there is no way that we could afford, because we have a serious problem of money. So some of these good things, had it not been of their contribution, they would not have been possible. So I really like to thank you a lot and say, continue doing that hard work. And most importantly as well, the general members of community. There are members of community, asna ngwana skolong, asna eng, when he has nothing to offer. Now saying ke tla ema mo ke etse boshoba gore bana ba thulu ke dikoloi o seng ke ba tshedise ha sekolo se tswa ke ba khutlise, o ha sekolo se tswa nne ke tsamaya fela ke patrole mo le gore the criminals must not do anything wrong on there. There are people who are doing that all over our province, and that contribution is as we are now almost in the middle of your academic year, still not 25% first quarter, but I know matric you are almost somewhere in the middle. Let's continue to raise this bar. But most importantly, let's not leave one behind. Our preoccupation as government is what happens to each and every learner. We have to work out on our output rate, not only between 10 and 12, But I'm more worried about even from those from grade 1. We have a challenge of ensuring that those that should be in the ECDs are not there. But why ECD, if they're here, they would know that we are not even at half of those that are supposed to be. It's quite a worrying factor. We've got to work on it. But we have to be worried about the kids that are supposed to be in grade 12 that we have lost somewhere. Because the implication is that some of them may be doing wrong things somewhere. And our understanding as government is that each and every child is important. We won't be happy that